from Reuters. Members of the House Representatives headed back to Washington after a 53-day break, braving congestion at the nation's tangled airports for a vote that could end the longest U.S. government shutdown in history. This is on Reuters.
Members of the Republican-controlled House of Representatives headed back to Washington.
Yes, you had to throw that jab in there, didn't they?
Well, the
Republican-controlled Congress
to reopen the government. A vote in the House was expected to occur Wednesday afternoon. Republican Representative.
Well, why don't you explain in more detail? Like, why is it just now opening? Is it because finally 8 Democrats came across and voted with Republicans to reopen it because Republicans voted, 14 times or perhaps 15 times in a row, and Democrats kept voting no, 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 and that's why the government's been shut down for the last, how many days are we up to right now? What is it, 41? Yeah, 41 days, 19 hours, 29 minutes, and 51 seconds. But who's counting?
Derek Van Orden of Wisconsin said in a post on X that he was hitting the road instead of booking a flight to return to the nation's capital.
Yeah, it's probably a better idea.
Down the government, the Democrats, the flights are too unreliable. So I'm going to ride on a motorcycle. It's going to take about 16 hours or so. It's going to be
shit, man.
But I will do my duty. I'm getting back to D.C. We're going to get this country back on track.
Oh, yeah, man, he's rolling up there on a motorcycle.
1,200 flights on Tuesday, the 5th consecutive day they have topped 1,000 since the government imposed mandatory flight reductions to address safety concerns. The shutdown has also disrupted the SNAP food aid program.
Well, and President Trump also noted, or he's going to recommend to the Department of Transportation, which I'm sure Sean Duffy, if they can get the funds together, I'm sure they're going to do this. Any air traffic controllers that have had perfect attendance throughout the shutdown, they're going to get a $10,000 bonus.
To higher demand at this Arizona food bank, including from Tony Miller.
Trump is a joke. He's a joke. I work hard, but those
somebody's stuck in an echo chamber.
It helps out, and he's starving the American people. I know he ain't lost a lot of supporters. He's a joke.
Remember, this is Reuters after all.
The shutdown is now
so you know who they're going to be interviewing.
Second day and is the longest in U.S. history. The deal to end it would extend funding through January 30th, setting the stage for another potential shutdown showdown.
Oh, yeah, you know that's coming. Of course that's coming.
On a path to keep adding about 1.8.
The reason why I think the second shutdown will happen, assuming that the House will vote to open it, we need the House to vote. Once the House votes, I'm assuming tomorrow, then President Trump will sign it, and then it'll be good to go. The government will be open until January, but that means that now there's a clock set with regard to the Affordable Care Act, because the ACA, just shocking to me that the Democrats agreed to not put the ACA tax credits in this continuing resolution bill. That's not going to be added in with what they're about to vote on in Congress tomorrow. So they're going to try to figure out exactly what they're going to do with Obamacare between now and January. And if they can't strike a deal between now and then, just look forward to another government shutdown.
$1 trillion a year to its $38 trillion in debt. The deal has divided Democrats, who had sought
that's
to
a problem.
Healthcare
Democrats
for 24 million Americans past the end of
and
the
rhinos.
year, when those subsidies are due to expire. Senate Republicans have agreed to hold a separate vote on the subsidies in December, but there is no guarantee it will pass the chamber. And House Speaker Mike Johnson has
no credit extension. It better not pass.
Even hold a vote.
All right, so that's all we got for that. To be continued. We'll see what happens tomorrow in the House and see if they get it voted on. It would be surprising if they don't get enough to vote for it, although wouldn't be the most surprising thing ever if it gets jammed up in the House, but we'll just have to wait and see. This is from US DOT Rapid Response. Today at 4 p.m., Secretary Sean Duffy with the Department of Transportation, he holds a press conference at O'Hare Airport to provide updates on air travel amidst the government shutdown.
More challenging, more difficult for us.
So, by the way, it's a bit long. I'm assuming he's going to take questions. I won't play throughout the questions or the Q&A portion of it. I just figured I'd just go through the few minutes of his initial statement just to see what kind of updates we have, especially because there's a lot of people out there that are traveling for Thanksgiving, and it's kind of important to hear.
To accomplish that goal.
By the way, I have no idea why it's only coming through one side, left or right. I'm not sure. I'm reading that on my OBS. It's the video. It's not me. It's the video. So
we used to have four air traffic controllers retire every day. We now have 15 to 20 air traffic controllers retiring a day. So that's a problem. Long after you all finish covering the shutdown, we are going to be stuck dealing with this problem where we're about 2,000 controllers short, trying to make up that difference. We're going to do it. We're going to work on it. But that has
what they're doing, they had put a lot of advertising out for air traffic control school, especially during the summertime. I was seeing it all over X all summer from the Department of Transportation, inviting people to join. I don't remember the technical name for it. It's air traffic control school. And I think they were offering sign-on bonuses and things of that nature to try to get people on. And they met their quota. They got plenty of people who signed up for it. But the problem I think they're going to have is who's going to want to go through air traffic control school at this point after seeing the nightmare government shutdown. And is this going to be a problem that they're going to have to deal with in the future? I think regardless, you're still going to see enough people that are going to join the school because, the air traffic controllers get paid really well. So.
Problem of the shutdown. I mentioned I wanted air traffic controllers to come back to work. So to be clear, anywhere from 24 to 48 hours after the government opens, they're going to get a photo ID and 70% of their pay. So 70% of their pay comes within 24 to 48 hours. So I encourage all of them to come to work, to be patriots and help navigate the airspace effectively for the American people. The remaining 30%, I think, will come in about a week after the government opens. I want to say thank you to Senate Democrats, the 8 of them that voted to open up the government.
Dude, what the fuck is going on with this sound, man? Hold on. Let me do this. This sound is absolutely atrocious. I'm going to try to jack up the gain on this. Hopefully we're not going to blow any eardrums out, but I'll do my best to control it.
That's critically important. This is now going to go to the House. I encourage every single Republican and Democrat to vote to open the government. And I don't want to be Chicken Little for you all. I'm going to give you what I see. So if the government doesn't open, if the House doesn't do its job, I've had questions about what happens for Thanksgiving. There's a lot of Thanksgiving travel. What's going to happen during that time frame? I'm going to tell you we are not going to get to Thanksgiving. You're going to see this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The big disruption thus far, massively more disruption as we come into the weekend if the government doesn't open.
Okay.
It is going to radically slow down. So the House has to do its work.
Right.
By the way, I'm
but
very
will
hopeful.
they?
It seems like they're in a good mood to come in and vote to open the government. And again, I hope they do that. We're going to take your questions in a moment, but I do want to let you hear from our acting ATO, head of our air traffic controllers, to talk about what he's seen. Then we'll come back and we'll take some of your questions. So, Frank?
All right, let's hear from him.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Mr. Secretary. But before I say anything else, I do want to thank the men and the women, the air traffic controllers, our supervisors, our technicians, our individuals that work at our FAA JTOC and Command Center who have kept this system running over unprecedented times. Under unsure times,
that's a
when
huge
the
ask.
next paycheck's going to come and how they're going to
Much
make
appreciated.
ends meet. And through it all, they kept everyone at this airport safe, as well as all the airports around the country. Mr. Secretary, I also want to thank you for visiting these facilities, spending time with our controllers and our technicians and our managers to understand the problem and to hear from them firsthand. I can't tell you how much it means to them to have a boss come and listen to that and listen to them and how we're going to get past this shutdown. From the Air Traffic Organization, we're extremely hopeful that we are on the eve of the shutdown. And the reason why I'm saying that is this past weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, witnessed 3 of the highest staffing trigger numbers out of the 4 that we've had on record during this shutdown.
Ooh, yikes. What does that mean?
These whole entire days, we've seen 3 staffing triggers, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, that severely impacted the operation. Normally, what we will do is we'll put in ground delay programs that you'll see your flights being delayed. That's a normal protocol. This past weekend saw us put in airspace flow programs where we had to slow the entire country down, which forced massive cancellations and delays. This is not sustainable. for our air traffic controllers, for our technicians, and for the American public. For our controllers who are working and worried about what's going to happen to them, rest assured, when the shutdown's over, they will be made whole, and they'll be made whole within a week. What's really important for us is getting back to business. And what I mean by that is Thanksgiving is coming up.
Yes, it is.
This is the time where everybody comes and connects with their loved ones.
Yes, it is.
This is the time where air traffic controllers and technicians say, it's go time.
And look, that is exactly why I believe the Democrats, they backed themselves into a corner and they had no choice in the Senate but to vote to pass the CR bill, which is why they were unable to get the Obamacare tax credits added to that bill. But they voted to pass it anyway, finally, because they know it's Thanksgiving. Family comes together during Thanksgiving. It's going to be a travel nightmare if they keep it shut down. Everybody's going to talk to everybody, and everybody's going to start realizing, oh, it is the Democrats who shut this down that kept me laid up in this airport and for the entirety of Thanksgiving, that made me either extremely late to showing up or I missed it altogether because I've been stuck in an airport this entire weekend. People talk to other people, and I believe that would absolutely have happened, and the Democrats would have taken shitloads of flack from that because people talk to other people, especially sitting and waiting in an airport for endless hours on end. So I believe that's why the Democrats in the Senate, at least, voted to pass it, even though they didn't get what they wanted, but they passed it anyway. And I think this is the exact reason why, because they knew starting this coming weekend, if they didn't reopen it, exactly what he was saying and what Sean Duffy was saying was that we were going to see severe a severe backlog in flights, cancellations, and it could get to the point where they would have to shut down airspace for an entire airports if so few air traffic controllers show up. They wouldn't be able to effectively manage an entire airport. Imagine that nightmare.
No time for us. We want the shutdown to be over. We want our controllers back on the boards doing what they do best, which is separating traffic and keeping everyone safe. We look forward to getting back to business once this shutdown is over and ensuring that we once again hold true to what we promised to everyone in this room and across the country. We got you. We'll keep you safe. And rest assured, we'll get through this together. Mr. Secretary?
Thank you. I want to thank Frank as well. He's done a masterful job at the FAA navigating this crisis for us. A couple points, and I'll take your questions. As we come into Thanksgiving, this is the Super Bowl of air traffic controlling.
Right? Oh, I'm sure it is. It's Thanksgiving weekend, for crying out loud.
And
busiest travel weekend of the year.
Is going to get us to a place where we can get controllers back in our facilities controlling the airspace. I want to bring up one issue that I'll take your questions. You saw on Friday, on Saturday, we reduced our flights by 4%. So 4% of commercial aviation had to be canceled.
They were talking 10%.
Now, some have claimed that this was based on politics. This was based on pressure. And I would just tell you that this information...
Well, wasn't it?
To do this reduction in flights by 4% on Saturday, it came from the safety office. The safety office made the recommendation, they elevated it, and we implemented it. And I'd also note on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, the cancellations in the airspace were higher than 4%. Right? So some might argue we didn't cancel enough flights. Today, we increased it by another 2%. So we're at 6% of cancellations of flights in the airspace. Some have asked, when are you going to start rolling those back? The answer to that is this has all been data-based. We've seen incursions on runways. We've seen loss of separation in the airspace, and we've seen heightened complaints by pilots of the communication they're having with air traffic controllers. When this information goes in the wrong direction, we have to make decisions to keep people safe. You all saw it with the DCA air crash. The last administration didn't see the 85 near misses that happened in that airspace.
Oh, yikes.
They didn't take action. They didn't look at the data. So we are going to look at the data and make the best decisions possible to keep the traveling public safe. That's what we've done. When that data changes, we're going to start taking down from 6, maybe we'll go to 4, 2, and get back to normal air travel. But I want to just clarify what we've done and why we've done it with the reduction of flights. And by the way, I think that by having a system-wide reduction where people and airlines can think through the cancellations, that's far safer then seeing hotspots around the country and random cancellations and delays. It leaves airplanes stuck at certain airports. It leaves crews stuck in other locations. It's way harder to manage. So we think this was the best approach to reduce the risk in the system and improve safety. So with that, happy to take your questions.
All right. So I'll repost that if you want to hear the Q&A portion of that. So let me adjust my volume back to where it was. So imagine if the coin was flipped and it was the Republicans who voted to shut down the government, and it was Democrats that had they had the majority in Congress and they had the presidency, and they were managing what Sean Duffy's managing. Imagine Pete Buttigieg doing this. It wouldn't surprise me, not saying that they would have done this definitively, but it wouldn't exactly surprise me if they shut down a lot more of the air traffic than Sean Duffy and the Department of Transportation ended up doing, just to make it more chaotic, to just make people more angry at Republicans in general. That honestly wouldn't have surprised me if they did that, just like unnecessarily ramped up the cancellations above and beyond what they should have. But thankfully, that's not the situation we're in. And I guess we're just going to have to see. Like they said, the whole thing's in the House's hands now. It was in the Senate for the last 40 days, and now it's going to move over to the Senate, or the House, and we'll see what the House of Representatives does, if they're going to vote on this continuing resolution bill. They've added some things to it, so it's not identical to what it was when it passed through the House originally. They tacked on a few things. I think something regarding the VA and the military, something along those lines. They threw in. I don't know why they even did that. I'm assuming because November 21st was supposed to be the big round of spending, the big package that they were supposed to be voting on. But the government's been shut down for all this time. They're going to push that back for probably a whole nother month, if not longer. So maybe there's a couple of pressing funding issues that are coming up that need immediately addressed. I'm assuming that's what the reason is for them tacking those things onto this bill that's heading over to the House, which is why they have to vote on it, because there were some changes made to it by the Senate. But still very honestly surprising to me that Democrats decided to pass it, even though they did not get anything with Obamacare in that bill. That really surprised me, because that was the one big thing that they were hanging on to. That, and not to mention the $1.5 trillion that they were demanding, which they initially shut down the government for in the first place. They didn't get that either. So, and I'm telling you, man, it's because Thanksgiving's coming up. People talk to other people. Families talk to families. Everybody talks. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to whittle down the true reason why the government was shut down and who was actually behind it. Excuse me, who was actually behind it. So